first story. An Accra High Court has quashed the 3-year jail term handed the Achimota School student who killed his female colleague in January last year. Lily Donko, then a final year SHS student, was shot in the abdomen when she went to visit his friend in his home in Tema. The juvenile convict who fired the gun belonging to the father had told the court he never intended to kill his friend, but was still sentenced to 3 years in a correctional home for manslaughter. He has, however, been discharged after serving just 6 months of the sentence because a high court said there was a miscarriage of justice during the trial. There is more in the following report.
Yes, sir.
We want them to establish the truth. She cannot be killed in that manner.
Just like that.
A mother in pain as she demanded justice. It was at a time when the accused was yet to be apprehended. Relatives thronged the family premises to sympathize with the family. 8 months later, a juvenile court presided over by Bernardine S.A. Senu handed a then 17-year-old a 3-year sentence for manslaughter. He was to serve the period in a correctional home. In November 2017, family of the convict headed to the High Court seeking to set aside the decision. They argued the juvenile court did not have jurisdiction to hear the matter as prosecution first commenced at the district court. They had also insisted the trial judge did not follow procedure in sentencing him before ordering for a social inquiry report to be issued. The state prosecutors had challenged these claims and urged the court to disregard them. Justice Kofi Dogu, delivering his judgment, held that the juvenile court judge erred in sentencing a student without first having access to the social inquiry report. It accordingly set aside that decision and directed a discharge of the student.
Well, the family of Lily Donko has served notice of pushing for an appeal. They're pushing for an appeal and they want the state to intervene in the case because they believe that it's been a miscarriage of justice. Peggy Donko is auntie of the deceased.
They appealed, and we also have rights to appeal. So we also appeal. The truth is that is what Mr. and Mrs. Anaman set out to do. And the other truth will not be free forever. Of course, Lily is dead. We're finding it difficult, and we're going to live with this for the rest of our lives. And they would also live with this for the rest of their lives. Gerald is a murderer. They can do whatever. But I assure you, he will not live forever. Everybody would die. At least we know that Lily was shot dead. How would he go? We would also appeal. That is all we want. Very soon, at least we have the our legal guys from the AG's department. It's a criminal case, so we don't have take our own lawyer. You know that. So the state will handle it for us. So we are looking up to the state to also appeal because it doesn't make sense at all. We start court proceedings and you tell us that your son has an examination or an impending exam to write. So you cannot be in court every day. We understood. Yeah. Now, after you are telling us that the duration was what? The stipulated date. Well, the final judge is God.
Now, for those of you who do not know where people on death row or who are giving death sentences end up, Joy News is out with a new hotline documentary titled Death Row. The documentary, produced by multiple award-winning journalist Seth Kwame Boateng, delves into the hearts and minds of prisoners on death row. He spoke to inmates who have been jailed for murder, manslaughter and related charges. They are lined up to face the gallows, but with successive governments' reluctance to sign the death warrants, they sit on death row, awaiting the day they will be picked up and executed as declared by the court. Here are excerpts of the documentary.
So I'm moving to the special block where we have a number of inmates who are on death row. They don't know when they will be killed. Their anxiety levels are just too much. I understand some have exhibited so much remorse and they wish they could go home.
I am being accompanied by the Eastern Region Prisons Commander, Deputy Director of Prisons, Isaac Ejiri. He knocks on the fortified iron gate securing the condemned block, and it is opened. Life virtually ends here. Dreams are shattered immediately you are marched to this block. The scary sounds of death is all you hear ringing in your ears every second. Sadly, a greater percentage of these condemned prisoners are very young. Some are below 30 years. 23-year-old Abdul Halik Hamza is one of the prisoners. He can be killed through hanging anytime. I find him in a small makeshift mosque made for them in the condemned block. This is where Halik consoles himself anytime it dawns on him that he killed and he must also be killed. The Quran is his companion. Sadly, his journey into the condemned block started right after reading his Quran and offering his Maghrib prayers on 13 July 2013 in Tamale, the northern regional capital.
It was in a fasting season when we about to break our fasting, so I left with my friends to the Nyohani roundabout to get some food and break our fasting. When we got there, we met some other group there. So we sit with them, and we sat with them, and we were conversing. So after that, I was left with one of my friends to take some key password with him that he was changed in my computer. So I was there with the friend when I heard noise. The people were shouting there. Actually, when I came back, I asked what happened, what is going on here, and they said some guys came and said they are going to beat them. That is what I heard. So I was telling them to stop. They were shouting and they were all taking things. They were just fighting. So I was telling them to stop. Through stopping them, I take some stick, some wood, to see what I can do that to separate them so that everybody will move there. But being in this thing, through this separation, I hit one with the stick and he fell down.
It was not a normal fall. His victim, Abdul Kaniu, did not die immediately. He was quickly rushed to the Tamale Teaching Hospital, and Halik was immediately whisked away to the police station by a police patrol team who chanced on the incident. Abdul, unfortunately, did not survive. He died the next day.
That morning, one also came to me. One of my friends came to me and said the person is okay. Now he's even talking. Lately, getting to around 10 or 9, when another person also came and told me that the person is normal. And that time, I've never met that thing before, and I've never think of it. So that time I make confused, because how can a human being lose his life through in your hands? So that time I was even confused. I was in the cells and they told me to eat, and I said no, I can't eat. This is what is going on, and what is going on, that thing I've never seen some before, so I can't live with it. And they told me I should be patient. This one, it is not my fault, but God knows why. That's what my friends in the cell told me.
Now, the first part of Death Row is at 8:30 p.m. right after this bulletin. In other news, the Ministry of Health has ordered embattled medical director of the Ankafor Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Eugene Dodoye, to leave his post within a week to make way for the appointment of his successor. The decision follows months of agitations by staff of the hospital demanding his removal. Deputy Health Minister Tina Mensah and the Chief Executive Officer of the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Kwesiose, met the staff of the hospital on Monday to convey the decision of the committee to them. Richard Kojunyako reports from the Ankafor Psychiatric Hospital that the staff have agreed to return to work with immediate effect.
So it's been weeks of agitations here at the Ankerford Psychiatric Hospital, where the staff, that is the psychiatric nurses group, agitated that they do not want the medical director of the Ankerford Psychiatric Hospital to continue being at post. So it's been one negotiation to the other. And today, the Deputy Minister of Health, Tina Mensah, and then the Chief Executive Officer of the Mental Health Authority came to meet the staff.
There is the engagement about this agitation from the workers here. The ministers are our brothers and sisters here with the director. So they made a petition to the ministry. The ministry saying form the committee to come and look through, and then some recommendations have been made. So I came to deliver the intentions of the ministry to them, and I think this is what we came to meet today. It's unfortunate that I've made the press because I was coming to talk to my children, and then I've made the press here.
Okay, so we want in clear terms what the recommendations were.
The recommendations, they asked something. So the ministry has asked the director within this week to roll up, and then we will see the way forward. That is all I can say about it.
We need some brief details about
no,
the
I can't.
how many months
I will never. Let me say.
How many months is he?
I will. I said something. So I'm not going to talk.
So as you can see here, there are wild jubilations, and they are popping champagne in the process. Their staff are very happy here. They are happy with the decisions that have been taken. The nurses and the staff here are very happy. They are comfortable with the decision that has been taken, and they are happy that at long last, Dr. Eugene Dodoi, the medical director of this facility, is being asked to step aside.
I am so elated. This man has oppressed us for so long, and it is not as if he became the director before doing this, before he was here, and what he was doing, it was very terrible. And so we are very happy. Myself, I'm a victim. My wife is a victim, and I don't know, he stood at a church to give thanksgiving. Today is our day. Sunday we are going to stand at the same church to give a testimony and give God a thanksgiving service on Sunday. So I can't explain my joy this afternoon.
Oh yeah, I feel very excited because what we have been fighting for so long, today we have won the battle. But what I want to real quick is that, you know, it wasn't just because of his character. Okay, there is a lot of rot going on in the hospital accounts, and as the health minister, the deputy minister said that they will come and investigate it. I just hope that maybe it shouldn't be a political talk.
We are happy, but for me, I'll be extremely happy if the criminal aspect of the cases is dealt with seriously.
Criminality is involved here.
When it was alleged that the bungalow where he's staying, he spent 200,000 Ghana cedis, 2 billion. Yeah, that OCDs. Alright, that's 2 billion OCDs. And you see, the hospital has been crying for lack of money. We don't have money. Meanwhile, this hospital, those of us who are here for a longer time period, we were here before he came. We know that this hospital should have more money because of the affiliation program. Where is the money going to?
Let's speak with Emmanuel Fori. He is the PRO of the nurses group.
Thank the health ministry, especially the deputy minister, for coming to clarify issues pertaining to the hospital director's removal. Yes, she spoke as a mother to us. We have heard her. She has pleaded. We recited the national pledge and we sang a portion of the national anthem also. So what we are telling our staff is to begin work immediately. That is effective immediately, and they should give their best, just as we have been giving always. So for Mother Ghana and for our patient as well. What I would say is we are okay with what the minister said, because she has assured us that the man is being taken out, and then a question was asked whether he will be brought back, and she gave the adage, the Ghanaian adage, that when you push an old lady, you don't bother about where she will fall. And so I think that is a proverb well understood. So we are okay.
So from the Ankerford Psychiatric Hospital, my name is Richard Kwejonya for Joy News.
We're taking a break here on Joy News. From Bastille Island, the bulletin, traders at the Mala market here in Accra who had their wares trashed by soldiers who said they were protecting a disputed land are demanding compensation. Also,
they should come and compensate us. How do I repay my debt? If my creditors come and arrest me, who will cater for my children?
Also in the bulletin is a story that could potentially mess up your dinner, for which reason I'd advise you to have that dinner first, the supper first, before the story rolls. It's about the night soil carriers who still ply their trade even though it's been outlawed for about 10 years now. Stay tuned to back in a bit. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says the African continent requires quality human capital as it works towards improving its economic fortunes in order to grow beyond aid. Speaking at the Edouard Center here in Accra, Dr. Bawumia says the resilience of Africa is demonstrated by its ability to survive 400 years of slavery, and that the people of the continent should bring the same attitude to bear in harnessing their natural resources. Latif Idris has more.
The Vice President said this at the wreath-laying ceremony to mark the 150th anniversary of the late Pan-Africanist W.E.B. Du Bois Monday morning. Born on February 23, 1868 in Great Barrington, a small town in Massachusetts, USA, Dr. Du Bois was a leader in the Pan-Africanist movement that sought solidarity between all people of African descent. Renouncing his U.S. citizenship, Dr. Du Bois became a citizen of Ghana, where he lived until his death in 1963 at the age of 95. According to the Vice President, Dr. Du Bois' decision to relocate to Ghana sowed a seed that reflected his commitment to the development of the continent and called on Africans in the diaspora and those at home to reconnect and work towards achieving economic independence.
It's a fact that we could not have had the strongest people, men and women, being taken out of the continent over a period of 400 years. 400 years. Ghana has only been a country for 60 years. We are talking 400 years of a continent where some of our most, ingenious and strong people were taken out on slave ships. So after 400 years, there's bound to have been a major impact for us. The descendants of the slaves, our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Therefore, it's very, very important for a reconnection of that human capital that is out there to the continent. It is really not an issue. It's very, very, very important.
Minister of Tourism Catherine Afeku, in her speech, called on historically black colleges in the Americas to make it part of their curricula for students with African descent to visit Ghana to reconnect with their past and demystify the continent.
Our great-grandfather lies here at this tomb, but we need to do better by sending a very loud message that yes, we have come home and we have come with a loud bang. We need to make it very simple but very strong that the Renaissance starts with us. Historically black colleges should have the pilgrimage coming home to Ghana, the Mecca for Pan-Africanism. They should be part of a course, a credit that you get on a plane and you come home. And that should be the reorientation for historically black colleges.
Dr. Bawumia later laid a wreath on the tomb of the late Pan-Africanist W.E.B. Du Bois.
Some traders at the Mala market here in Accra, who had their wares destroyed by officers from the Ghana Armed Forces last Friday, are demanding compensation. The traders say over 100 bags of salt they had packed on a piece of reclaimed land behind the market, which has been claimed by the Ministry of Sanitation, was trashed by the soldiers. The traders meanwhile say they had no intention of permanently taking over the land and only took up space on the disputed portion to allow for rehabilitation of the main market. Joining us, Kwesi Parker Wilson has more in the following report.
I wasn't privy to the document, the signing. I am just here as project coordinator, help get the project started. That is all I'm here for. So for figures, unless maybe the administrators or the
13.5 acre of land near the Mala market has been at the center of controversy for some time. The traders occupying the land in question clashed with military men who have been deployed by the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation to guard the land. According to the traders, the local government ministry granted them permission to occupy the land temporarily to pave way for rehabilitation of the Mala market. With this directive, some of the traders, particularly salt traders, moved to secure their spot on the allocated land, but were met by the military men deployed there. The situation degenerated into chaos when the traders insisted on accessing the land at all cost. The soldiers earlier dumped wares of the traders into a nearby stream. The woman spoke to Joy News.
They should come and compensate us. We took loans to buy this salt, and now everything is destroyed. How do I repay my debt? If my creditors come and arrest me, who will cater for my children?
When the man to me say emfa inchineno emeguha and I miss you your market penino and no my to me say emfa megu and also mami 30 minutes na me clear nyamani nyina.
The head of the market gave us permission to place our sacks of salt here. When the soldiers came, they instructed us to pack the sacks within 30 minutes, claiming ownership to the land. I pleaded with the soldiers to give us 24 hours to pack, but he threatened my life. Quickly, I had to go gather some young men to help me pack. When we got back, the soldier looked at me and told me to step back if I wanted to live. There I saw him throw my sack of salt into water.
Chairman of the Traders Association at Mala Market, Nathaniel Beaumont, has given the Ministry of Sanitation 3 days to resolve the impasse so they can move to the new site.
We have a very vast land here belonging to the market, and we said our women are going to be there so that they will pave way for the construction to take place. This has become a problem now, so we don't know what to do. Mr. Minister of Sanitation, Mr. Kofi Adda, we are pleading with you that release our land for us. Madam Honorable Ajia Alima, we are pleading so that you people at the top will handle this impasse so that we can pave way, our traders can pave way so that the construction will take place. Because what actually is going on here, it is very, very appalling. We don't understand it.
The project manager of Comet Engineering says the situation has stalled the rehabilitation exercise.
As you can see, we've been here since morning, and you know there's nothing going on here. It's been stalled. We've been on site since August, September last year, and nothing seems to be going on because of relocation of the traders.
I see. Have you made any effort to speak to the local government ministry on what you need to do because they brought you here?
We have written so many letters. We are in talking to AM. We've been talking to AMA to see to how they can help us get the traders off or relocate them for us to enable us start our work.
So without the relocation of the traders, there is no way you can embark on this exercise.
It's the same place where they are. That is where the project is supposed to go on. So there's no way we can do anything without without being reallocated.
Is this really affecting you? For Joy News, I am Kwesi Parker Wilson, Mala Market.
Well, the Ghana Armed Forces has been reacting to this story and the traders' claims. In the military has vehemently defended its invasion of the disputed land around the Malam in Accra, where traders had their wares, including bags of salt, completely destroyed. Public Affairs Director of the Ghana Armed Forces, Colonel Agri Kwashi, told Joy News his men were only carrying out a duty imposed on them by another state agency. He has told the aggrieved traders to, quote, respect orders and not to challenge authority. We're taking a break to bring you business news, but still ahead in the bulletin, we have that story that could potentially mess up your dinner. for which reason I've been warning you to have that supper first before the story rolls. It's about the night soil carriers who still ply their trade, even though it's been outlawed for about 10 years now. Stay tuned, we're back with business news.
Hello again, good evening to you, and thanks for joining me on business. Now, the China multinational hotel group Shangri-La has begun preparations to expand its tentacles into Ghana. The company has already acquired a parcel of land at the airport's business area for the construction of a modern 5-star facility. Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, disclosed this to Joy Business. Ebenezer Saboti has more in this report.
The face of Ghana's tourism sector is expected to change after receiving what is being described as one of the best private sector investments into the country. The decision by the Shangri-La Group to establish a 5-star hotel in Ghana has come as a good news to the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC. In an interview with Joy Business, Chief Executive of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, says the group has successfully registered with the center and is expected to commence construction work soon.
To develop a 5-star Shangri-La hotel here. You know, Shangri-La is a global chain, 5-star chain, providing quality leisure. And so they are already in Ghana looking to do that. We're expecting to see some others.
Isn't the old Shangri-La that got collapsed?
No, that is not the old Shangri-La. That was not the Shangri-La Group. That was a private developer who called his hotel Shangri-La, but it wasn't part of the global chain. This is the original global chain. They acquired the space in the land, and so that's what they're going to do. So they've actually bought the land, they've registered the company, and they're hoping that within the next few months they'll cut short on the construction.
He spoke on the sidelines of the Maiden Tourism Investment Forum organized by the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. The Shangri-La Group has over 95 hotels and resorts in Asia, Europe, and among others. The company is primarily listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Yofi Grant further explained some initiatives that the center is embarking upon in order to support the tourism sector in attracting the needed investments.
Opportunities. And as I did mention, we are looking to increase capacity to maybe 20,000 first-class rooms for tourism and for also business travelers. And so those are very good opportunities that I just want to see. We already the Perennial and Shangri-La Group are looking at Ghana actively.
The Ghana Tourism Investment Forum seeks to promote investment opportunities in the industry.
Now, the country could start using the single common ECOWAS currency, the ECO, from 2020. That's according to the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. Some countries in the West African sub-region are expected to introduce the currency after they met the criteria for using the currency. However, this has been met with some difficulties. But speaking to Joy Business at the program in Accra, the Finance Minister said Ghana could lead the way.
I mean, certainly we've all heard it, but I just see a new commitment, especially because of the solidarity between President Nana Akufo-Addo and President Ouattara. And it's always a bridge, between the Francophone and the Anglophone. So I think with that, that's a baseline. I'm a lot more optimistic about it than I've been, because this is the first time you're seeing presidents on both sides of the aisle that seem to have the same commitment.
How committed is Ghana to it? Especially one bit that one will talk about is the convergence criteria, and that is where the challenge has always been. How committed is Ghana to in achieving these convergence criteria to make sure that we tap into the implementation of this ECO?
Well, I mean, I don't know whether that's an academic question, or because you've seen what we've done this year, and if there's any sign of commitment, that must be it, to be able to bring your deficit from 9.3 to 5.9, reduce inflation, your coverage. So we are committed. It's obvious that we are not going to compromise on the macro issues for stability. But a single currency for 2020 vision is that let's find 2, 3, or 4 countries that are ready. And then once they meet up, then we follow through the others cascading in. It is clear, I mean, the 350 million market is important to us for industrialization drive, and the population is something that is where, but I think if Ghana positions itself well, we will be a great beneficiary of that. So there's every reason to do that.
We're going to be among the 3 or 2 countries that will start with the ZECO.
We have to be. We've always been leaders. I don't know why you doubt it. And we'll work hard to make it happen because it's good for us.
The National Insurance Commission, NIC, has pledged its commitment to enforcing insurance companies to pay motor claims within a 14-day deadline, as stipulated under the NIC's claims guidelines for the insurance industry. The Commission established the guidelines in 2015, which sought to regulate timelines within which claims must be settled. Unfortunately, many insurance companies are not adhering to these directives. According to the Commissioner of Insurance, Justice Yaufori, any insurance company which fails to comply will face the necessary sanctions.
The National Insurance Commission has pledged its commitment to enforcing insurance companies to pay motor claims within a 14-day deadline, as stipulated under the NIC's claims guideline for the insurance industry. The Commission established the guideline in 2015, which sought to regulate timelines within which claims must be settled. Unfortunately, many insurance companies are not adhering to the directives. According to the Commissioner of Insurance, Justice Yaufori, any insurance company which fails to comply will face the necessary sanction.
The program aims at actually creating insurance awareness and then making sure that there's consumer protection. So the education is going to be based on insurance awareness and then consumer protection. Now, the Commission has claims guidelines which is going to enforce this year. We're also working on a package for settling especially third-party motor claims. So we are coming out with a formula. We are working on it. We hope that maybe by the end of this quarter it should be out to assist the claims adjusters when it comes to claim settlement. I think it's good for the public to know how much money insurance companies are paying in claims so that they know that insurance is something they can actually have confidence in.
Meanwhile, the Commission has commenced a sensitization tour which seeks to educate the public, especially the informal sector workers, on the need to protect themselves against risks. Here's Chairman of the Insurance Awareness Coordinators Group, IACG, Wilson Tay.
The sensitization we are doing is, we did some work, some research work was done some 4 or 5 years ago to determine the reasons why insurance is not being consumed by the public generally. We found out that, one, first and foremost, you must understand that this country is mainly an informal sector country.
That's all in business for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. There's more news ahead. Don't go away.
Now, it's a job that is considered degrading and demeaning by Ghana's Supreme Court, but which has a few taking it up as a livelihood. Though pan latrines don't exist as far as Ghana's laws are concerned, Jojo Kobna found out they are still present in some parts of the city and so require night soil carriers to evacuate them the way it's been done for many decades. He reports that with at least 6 public pan latrine systems existing in the slum of Old Fadama, latrine boys would always be needed to take care of other people's dirty business for at least 40 cedis a night. And for this story, I'm warning you, it could be offensive.
11 years ago, Indo, as I choose to call him, made a journey to Accra. He had very high expectations of getting a very good job. But after about 4 months of struggling to get a job in the slums of Old Fadama, Indo had to take a very difficult decision. He accepted to do the most dehumanizing job. Carrying toilets. This day starts at 2 a.m. when the night is darkest, providing a perfect cover for him to clean up 2 public toilets and empty the pan latrine. This work is demeaning, yet to Indo, it is the only job that puts food on the table. For his wife and 3 children, Indo has done too well keeping this a secret. Indo doesn't just carry the weight of latrine at night. At sunrise, he walks through the neighborhood bearing an even heavier weight, stigma. Maybe carrying toilets has done a greater harm to Indo than merely crippling his self-worth. It's robbed him of ability to dream of a working world away from toilets and the stench that envelopes his office.
Future plans, okay. I know that they said they do it. And then I was and he said they do it. So, if you know, I'm doing it. Over about focus of where they're in more than doing in Tikana. No one was said it. No, now, why do you say, Opa, going away? I never did that. But I'm buying a million, and I'm being away. It's one a chair which one way. Now, it is a way to be there. And I'm going to go home. Osia, Mudu pa, what do you want to do? A bomber. I didn't say a bomber. That's all one away. And I just was in your was a good maid and you and I may not. I think you walk with
As common with pan latrine men, smoking helps them deal with a heavy stench. But Indo says he has never smoked, so he inhales the heavy stench daily. He carries the toilet, walks for about 10 minutes, and dumps it into a cesspit for future dislodge. Toilet business is big here in Old Fadama. People patronize the facility throughout the day and night. Workers are not willing to grant interview, but they told me it is lucrative. It is shocking to know that people rent enema syringe to purge their colons. This comes with serious infections, but many people here do not care.
Also, because I say, because I will do. Because I die, son, I'm here, Dibias, Cascascan, and they say, what do? I'm George, and I'm Penton crying. Yentemna, I don't know how many.
Indo has no idea that his job is illegal. In fact, the Supreme Court in 2008 banned his job, declaring it an assault on human dignity. This was after Nana Ejeampofo, a lawyer, stampeded the Supreme Court in 2006, pleading with judicial powers to declare carrying human excreta a degrading and humiliating experience which should not be classified as work. His plea was taken, and the Supreme Court ordered Accra Metropolitan Assembly to fashion out a plan to totally eradicate the pan latrine system by 2010.
I thought that it was an eyesore and a disgrace to humanity. So I decided, I gave warnings to AME. The warnings were disregarded and I had to go to court. seek a declaration that the practice was degrading and dehumanizing. And the Supreme Court agreed with me. I hear that they are still doing it. I'll give another caution. If they do not stop, I'll go to court with them again.
The Supreme Court's ruling ordered the AMA to build 1,500 water closets and 500 KVIPs across the capital for public use and financially assist persons with latrines to convert into water closets. Also, the AMA was ordered to help poor communities build toilets and make sure that no building is constructed without toilet facilities. The AMA was ordered to prosecute landlords who have not built toilet facilities in their homes. In August 2017, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly told the Daily Graphic that the pan latrine system had been phased out completely. Nana Ejeyam Pofo is unhappy that pan latrines are still used in Accra.
In my area at that time, they were doing it. And I remember every 2 weeks I had to buy a gallon of disinfectants to the carriers, all of whom died in a matter of 5 years. And that was one of the things that motivated me. And the causes of death, in respect of all of them, were either upper respiratory tract infections or something related to infections arising from the work that they were doing.
Ghana has about 85.7% of its population without decent toilet facilities, and this equals about 23 million people who suffer the fear and indignity of relieving themselves in the open or in unsafe hygienic toilets. This is captured in a report by WaterAid in 2017. For every home which has a pan latrine, another indoor is needed to carry their toilet. That's what makes the job of the latrine men a miserable irony. They serve a need which remains a scar on the conscience of our society. With about 6 public toilets operating the pan latrine system at Old Fadama, the AMA has a lot of work to do to enforce the court's judgment. Jojo Kobna, Joy News.
Right, so that story was put together by Jojo Kobna, and if you found it offensive, I do apologize sincerely, but these are stories that we have to tell, even though, however unpleasant it is. We have on the phone line now Dr. Bedu Sarkodie is a public health expert, and he's going to be speaking to us about this issue. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Bedu Sarkodie. Now, what are the implications of we still having this business in the year 2018?
Thank you very much, and good evening to everybody listening and watching. Indeed, the pan latrine has a lot of implications on health, and it's good that steps were taken. Indeed, started with individual, and with the help of the Supreme Court, it became a national law that you need to do away with it. The issues that we have, one, how it's set at home and the way it is, it doesn't give opportunity for adequate sanitary conditions at home. 2, the people that help to move it out from home, whatever, how careful they are, there will be exposure to some of this fecal matter, and we are all aware of the high laden of germs, pathogens, viruses, bacteria that do cause diseases in humans. The way it is handled, I mentioned earlier that no matter how careful we are, there will be some contact and exposure to human body, and the germs in there do infect those people that are supporting to keep the homes clean, but then it's not even complete. And they are at risk of a lot of disease conditions which are transmitted by germs, as the Vibrio, which causes cholera, Salmonella, which causes typhoid, E. coli, hepatitis A and E, all the germs that are transmitted through oral fecal transmission. There's a tendency that this practice would lead to infections, and some of these are transmissible. Apart, not some, all of them. So they individually getting sick from that unhygienic practice would also transmit the condition to others. So it's important that, as the Supreme Court did rule, more about 2008, I understand, it is well adhered to, and the various municipalities, assemblies have the responsibility to make sure that this practice is completely eliminated, if not eradicated. So these are sort of things, apart from the social aspect of it, as a lot of people handling matter to this extent. Indeed, we have a lot of inhuman touch to this, and it's good that we are doing away with this practice.
Now, Dr. Baidu Sarkodie, has the Ghana Health Service been aware that this practice has been going on, even though it has been outlawed by the Supreme Court?
Yes, we are aware, but the assembly. Indeed, you remember that you were formerly working with the environmental health team, and the environmental health staff, all of them, most of them, ceded to the assembly. So they are overseeing the health within the communities, villages, towns, but then the municipal assemblies are leading us in this endeavor.
How much of this would you say has been affecting or resulting in the cholera outbreaks and the various diseases that we've been having in the city?
Quantified it. I cannot give figure to this.
But clearly has an impact.
Obviously, yes. When somebody has a condition of any diarrhea disease, and we happen to put the waste into, and people that are carrying it get exposed, there's a risk to contribute to further spread. All
right, thank you very much, Dr. Baidu Sarkodie. Dr. Baidu Sarkodie is with the Ghana Health Service. I believe we've had enough of the night soil carrier business.